A warm honeymoon in South Africa, a luxurious hotel stay, and a young bride full of life and dreams. But in the blink of an eye, a romantic getaway turned into a cold-blooded crime scene. This is the story of Anni Dewani, a newlywed whose life was tragically cut short, and the tangled web of secrets, accusations, and courtroom drama that followed. What really happened on that fateful November night in Cape Town? Was it a random carjacking or a calculated plot rooted in betrayal? This documentary dives deep into the shocking case that stunned two continents. Anni Nina Hindocha Dewani was born in Sweden to a family of Indian descent. Raised in Mariestad, she was known for her vibrant personality, beauty, and intelligence. Her father, Vinod, was a successful businessman, and Anni had dreams of becoming a successful engineer and living a full life filled with love and family. In May 2010, she met Shrien Dewani, a wealthy British businessman from Bristol. Their relationship blossomed quickly, and by October that same year, they were married in a lavish traditional Hindu ceremony in Mumbai, India. The couple planned a dream honeymoon in South Africa, a country known for its stunning landscapes and vibrant culture, but they could not have imagined the nightmare that awaited them. On November 7, 2010, the Dewanis arrived in Cape Town. They stayed at the five-star Cape Grace Hotel. Everything seemed picture perfect. On November 13th, their taxi driver, Zola Tongo, took them on a drive through the Gugulethu township. It was there, according to initial reports, that their vehicle was hijacked by two armed men. Shrien was released unharmed, but Anni was not so fortunate. Her body was discovered the next day in the back of the abandoned vehicle with a gunshot wound to her neck. The case sent shockwaves across the UK, South Africa, and Sweden. How could a bride be murdered on her honeymoon? Was this simply a tragic case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time? South African authorities immediately launched a full-scale investigation. It didn't take long before the story started to shift. Zola Tongo, the driver, was arrested. He confessed to being involved in the murder and claimed that Shrien Dewani had ordered the hit on his wife. Tongo said Shrien had promised him 15,000 rand, about $2,000, to organize the murder and make it look like a random robbery. Soon, two other men were arrested, Mziwamadoda Kwabe and Monde Mbolombo. They corroborated Tongo's version of events. Back in the UK, Shrien denied all allegations, but the narrative was already unraveling. In 2011, South Africa requested Shrien's extradition, but Shrien's lawyers argued he was mentally unfit to stand trial, citing severe depression and PTSD. After lengthy legal battles, he was finally extradited to South Africa in 2014. The trial began in Cape Town. The prosecution presented the testimonies of Tongo, Kwabe, and Mbolombo, but their credibility was challenged. Each had accepted plea deals in exchange for their cooperation. Shrien's defense team argued that these men were trying to reduce their own sentences by falsely implicating him. They also revealed details of Shrien's private life, including his bisexuality and past relationship, claiming that Anni had discovered his secret. The courtroom was packed. The world was watching. But the evidence, though dramatic, was not enough. In December 2014, the judge ruled that the prosecution's case was too weak to proceed. Shrien Dewani was acquitted. The acquittal devastated Anni's family. Her mother collapsed in court. Her sister Ami wept uncontrollably, clutching a photograph of Anni taken just days before the wedding. The family had hoped for justice, or at least closure. Instead, they left South Africa feeling as though their daughter had been murdered twice, once physically and once again in the courtroom. Her father, Vino, voiced the family's heartbreak in interviews. "We didn't expect miracles, but we expected honesty. We got neither." Shrien Dewani returned to the UK shortly after his acquittal. Media reports suggest he resumed life under the radar, avoiding public appearances. In 2018, it was revealed that he had remarried in a private civil ceremony. Public reaction to this news was divided. Some felt he had a right to move on. Others were outraged that he could begin again while Anni's family was left in pieces. Zola Tongo, Mziwamadoda Kwabe, and Monde Mbolombo were all convicted for their roles in the murder. Their confessions and plea deals meant they received varying sentences. Tongo was sentenced to 18 years, Kwabe to 25, while Mbolombo, who turned state witness, received immunity. Their testimonies helped shape the narrative of the case, but their motivations and credibility remain hotly debated. For Anni's family, every day is a reminder of what was lost. They've spoken openly about the trauma, the emotional toll, and their efforts to keep her memory alive. Anni's sister Ami has become a voice for victims of international injustice, advocating for reforms in how such cases are handled when multiple countries and jurisdictions are involved. The murder of Anni Dewani was not just a personal tragedy, it became a media storm that exposed cultural fault lines and international legal complexities. British tabloids latched onto the story with fervor. Headlines like "Killer Honeymoon" and "Groom from Hell" painted Shrien as guilty before the trial even began. In South Africa, the incident raised concerns about safety for tourists and the prevalence of violent crime. The tourism industry faced scrutiny, and the government made public efforts to assure future visitors that South South Africa remained safe. But beneath those reassurances there was tension. Tension between justice and reputation, between truth and narrative. Many South Africans questioned whether justice was truly served. Others pointed to systemic issues in the judicial process, suggesting that privilege and international pressure played a role in the final verdict. Meanwhile, LGBTQ+ activists in the UK condemned the media's sensationalist portrayal of Shrian's bisexuality, arguing it was used more to shock audiences than to understand motive. The trial laid bare how sexuality, race, and wealth can distort public discourse around crime. Documentaries, podcasts, and news specials flooded the market. Each added a layer to the story, often with conflicting perspectives. While some exonerated Shrian, others leaned into conspiracy theories. For the Hindocha family, this only deepened their pain, watching their daughter's life and death reduced to entertainment. As the dust settled, one thing remained certain. The full truth of what happened to Anni Dewani may never be known. The legal process delivered a verdict, but not answers. Many still question the logic of Shrian orchestrating a murder in a foreign country during his honeymoon. Why choose South Africa, a nation with a high crime rate and complex law enforcement systems? Why involve so many accomplices? Wouldn't a simpler plan, closer to home, be less risky? Others believe the story provided by Tongo and the other men, while full of inconsistencies, still holds a grain of truth. They ask, what would three men gain from lying so elaborately? Why would they implicate someone so powerful if there was no benefit? Even within the courtroom, there were unanswered questions. Phone records hinted at communications not fully explored. Financial transactions raised eyebrows but were never decisively explained. CCTV footage provided partial timelines but left key moments in darkness. Conspiracy theories abound. Some suggest the murder was not about escaping a marriage, but something more complex, perhaps related to business interests, cultural expectations, or personal fears. What remains is a void where clarity should be. Annie's life, so full of promise, ended violently and mysteriously. Her family continues to ask the same question the world has asked for over a decade. Why? Anni Dewani's story is not just a murder mystery. It's a reflection of how truth can be obscured by fear, media, culture, and the gaps within justice systems. It's a story of love that was never allowed to grow, of a family left with grief instead of answers, and of a case that haunts everyone it touched. In the end, we're left with chilling silence where there should have been closure. Annie's smile, frozen in wedding photos, reminds us of a life interrupted. Justice, some say, is only what can be proven, but truth is deeper, and sometimes it never surfaces. Shrian returned to the UK maintaining his innocence. He has largely remained out of the public eye since. Now the question is, what really happened to Anni Dewani? Was she the victim of a random hijacking? Did Shrian orchestrate the murder to escape a marriage he no longer wanted? Were the testimonies of the convicted men fabricated? To this day, the case remains one of the most controversial in modern South African history. The Dewani family still mourns a daughter lost, a woman full of promise, a life extinguished too soon. Justice, as they say, is not always about truth. Sometimes it's about what can be proven. Anni Dewani's story reminds us of how fragile life is, and how behind every headline there's a family shattered by grief. If you believe Anni's story deserves to be remembered, leave a comment below. Subscribe for more true, deep investigations that seek justice, truth, and accountability. In memory of Anni Dewani, may her soul rest in peace.